So three things that have changed my game or my finishing from Amicus is firstly the sanding sponges, secondly the sanding discs, and third the paint. Okay, it's put my finishing to another level just by changing the products. It really has. Hi everyone and welcome. Today's video is about spraying basically. I am going to be showing you my procedure from start to finish and also the paint I use. I achieve really decent finishes, good high-end finishes, and not with HVLP. I use an airless sprayer. So an airless sprayer is a machine that can pump up to 3,300 psi. Just think about it this way: a car tyre is about 30 psi, so when you pump up the tyre, it's only 30. This is 3,300 max. We don't need it that high, but it's a different kind of sprayer from a HVLP sprayer. A HVLP type sprayer or a compressor type sprayer might be, I don't really use them, but I'm going to guess 10 to 30 psi, absolute max. So it comes out as a really light mist. This comes out a lot faster, a lot quicker. You can get spraying done a lot quicker with an airless sprayer. So I've got three. I used to have 11 of them and two cordless versions. I got rid of a few. I've got two of the biggies. I've got the 695 and the 595, all Greycoats by the way, and the GX-FF. So if you are looking to get into spraying, then it's the GX-FF that you're most likely going to want. I'm going to leave links in the description for you for everything, for the paint and for all the machines and the accessories, etc. So you can just buy what I've got basically, and the filters and the fans. But we're not going to go into those bits in detail. It's about just showing you the whole process. If you are getting into spraying though, then the GX-FF is probably the best one to go for. If you are looking for something in the future-proofed and you just want to pump out the paint constantly, like I do, maybe a 390 PC, or a 595 or a 695. Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. But what I have here is the smaller version. I've got the hopper version. It's the GX-FF, and I like this for one-off jobs because I could just pour the paint straight into it. The other two, it's got a little hose that you dip that into the paint tin, whereas I can pour half a litre into this, I can pour a litre, whatever. But I've got a small amount of dark primer which I'm about to spray. It's not a great deal, so this is why this one is perfect. Yeah, that is all set up. If you want to know how to set up a sprayer, check out my spraying playlist because that has got all the setting up procedures for the airless sprayers. But that is all prime, ready to go. For my tip on this gun, I'm using a 310, and I am going to be using a 310 tip over there too. Both of the sprayers are going to be pumped up to around 1,000 psi. With this paint that I'm spraying from Amicus, the Venice brand, it's quite thin in relation to the paint that I used to use. I used to use off-the-shelf paints, Johnstones, Dulux, Farrenball, all off the shelf, which were okay, but they are not designed for spraying, not designed. Whereas these paints are okay, so it's a lot smoother, less gritty, less grainy, thinner, and so you can just basically put the pressures right down on these machines from 1800, 2000, all the way down to 800, maybe 1000 with the Venice paint, which means less overspray, less waste, etc. So that is one plus point of the paint that I'm using today, and not only are we going to get high-end finishes, we are saving money and paint in the grand scheme of things, and a much more professional finish. So now the paint is set up into that, I just need to crack on and put the white primer in the 595, and then we are good to go. Okay, so this is the perfect sprayer if you want an all-round sprayer, something that's going to last you years and years and years. Yeah, it's a fantastic sprayer. So basically, I am about to set up the whites. This is a different type of sprayer. As you can see, it's got the hose coming out, or the siphon hose, whatever you want to call it. You dip that into the paint, then it sucks it up, and then it will come out the hose just like the other one. Okay, so I've got my tin of paint, the whites primer, the Venice primer. 1K, by the way, it's water-based. And this is a little bit different, this machine. You basically need to tip it up to be able to get this part of the hose in. That's where it's going to suck the paint up from. There we go, let's get it in place and just dip it in. So this is the priming tube as well as such. So we've got a valve here, one points to the gun and one points to this tube. Okay, so you've got two exits effectively on this machine, one to spray and one to like prime and remove any old paint. So down is out is the way I see it, and move this valve is sideways is pointing to the hose. So I'm going to have it down. I'm going to make sure the power's on, and let's flick this sprayer on. I'm going to turn it on, and in a second we should just see paint coming through. So basically it's just pulling up the paint, putting it through the manifold, the filter, and we should see it coming through. There may be a little bit of water or old water or something like that that might come through first, hence the reason we just want to let it run for a second. Once we got that paint through, it's just as simple as flicking the switch to the hose, because the machine is then primed full of paint. It's getting the air out of the system. We can speed up the process. There we go, coming out. And I know there was only clean water coming through here first, so I'm not going to waste my paint just letting it cycle. I am simply just going to plonk that in, and you've got a little bracket here. I'm going to plonk that into the black bracket. So if I do get an air blockage or something like that, I could just cycle that back in, and it will just recycle the paint rather than wasting it into this pot. So now we've got that there, we can just flick the hose again to the sideways. Sideways to me is pointing to the hose, that's the way I remember it. And let's turn the dial on up. And what that's doing now is getting the paint to the hose. Just make sure that you have got your gun on. And I'm just going to have it on the jet, and I'm just going to simply fire the gun into this until paint comes through. What I could do is I could take the tip out. Firstly, I'm not wearing the tip out unnecessarily, and it's going to come out like, you've got to be careful now, really slowly. It's a lot quicker if you take the tip out like I have. There we go, all good to go. And put that tip back in, give it a squirt, and away we go. So that was a good thing of testing before I went ahead. There we go, so we're good to go on that. I leave the tip of the gun in water, nothing else. So I've got a 310 tip in here. Give it a good old shake, and there we go. Effectively that is ready to rock and roll. So what we need to do now is check. We are at about 800, 700 psi. Let's turn it up a bit. So this is what we've got here. We are at just under 1,000. We've got that paint I was talking about, the waterborne white primer. This is the one that we're using, by the way. And good to go. What I'll do is set up the tripod, and we'll film just spraying one or two of the dark and one or two of the lights, and see how we get along. One thing I do want to show you is my fans. So everyone who watches my videos always asks me about the fans, and to be honest, these fans are absolutely fantastic. The spray room has been going for about 5 years, and they've been bulletproof all of this time. They are just fans that go through to the other side of the wall. Okay, this is what they look like. Don't worry, they do look a little bit crusty, but the overspray just peels off. If I wanted to clean them one day, I may. Anyway, links all in the descriptions, including the filters, for a very, very low cost budget setup to achieve professional results like I do. So yeah, ready to go. We've got the turntable here. Let's go ahead and get something that needs to be painted dark. Okay, so we've got two sets of alcove units. One is for the dining room, and one is for the front room. The front room is dark, the dining room is white. And here we have the living room, front room. Okay, so that is this paint here. So I've got my gun already set up. Okay, and we can do a little test. Yeah, as you can see there, I'm just going to double check my pressure. Yeah, happy with that. If I do need to tweak, I will tweak during the video. For example, if it's too low or if it's too high, I'll just change the dial. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to wear a mask, otherwise you wouldn't hear me. It's only going to be for 2 or 3 pieces, maybe 4. I'm going to have the fans on, and I am going to show you this little gadget. My remote, okay, because it is pretty damn awesome. So it's a little remote that is plugged to my fans, okay, so the fans, instead of me going backwards and forwards, for example, now I don't want the fans to be on because they draw quite a bit of electricity, maybe about 150 watts each. I may not want them on, I may be doing something else, I might spot a blemish on this, might need to sand it, or I might need to, I don't know. There might be a reason why I don't want my fans on, and this is a handy little remote. Let's go around the other side and show you before I start spraying. So excuse the mess. So I've got a little battery pack, and the reason I've got this is because I charge it on my solar panels, and I may as well use free energy during the day. Anyway, I've got my 2 fans, which are on 240 plugs. They are plugged into the back of this battery, but you see this is a remote plug, okay, so they're all plugged into there. It's Bluetooth, I believe, and which is connected to this remote. So if I press B, and they are now whizzing away, ready to go. So I've got my door open to get my ventilation. We've also got vents in the walls. There we go. They are doing their thing. Let me do it again. There we go. Turned off and back on again. Happy days. So that is another handy gadget that you may want. I'll leave links in the description again. Yeah, so I think we are good to go now. All I need to do is get my little brush just to get rid of any dust that might be on these because they've been here for about a week. So yeah, I'd always wear my mask, but just for this time you just wouldn't hear it if I had it on. There shouldn't be anything on it. It's been dusted down already, but just to be sure. Plus it's a primer, so it's not the end of the world. The grain will always rise on you a little bit when you prime. It's just what MDF does. Even no matter what quality you get, I've tried all different brands, and I know for 100% fact that you still get little maggots, as Sean calls them, or little bits or worms, whatever that pop up, bits of grain raising, and it's generally the lighter bits that are in the MDF, the lighter pine looking specks are the ones that raise. So the darker your MDF, the better in my eyes if you are going for standard, which I generally do. So yeah, we've got the living room here. We don't want to be spraying it the wrong way around like I did last time. Have a look at this video here because I made a huge mistake. Yeah, we won't go into details, just watch that video. Dark always covers really, really well. I mean, white I have to go over a little bit slower. Yeah, it's just dark, just covers so much easier. I don't need to move left and right, but I just don't want to cover the work as I'm spraying. So there we go. That is as easy and as simple as it is. It's very, very simple. Okay, anyone can do it. All I have to make it work is an airless sprayer, 2 fans, a bit of a space to spray in, and some really, really good paint. That is it. I am not a trained professional, as they say. I am self-taught. Let's do one more dark because you may want to see it. I'm going to check what it's marked because, yeah, I do not want to spray light, dark and dark light. There we go. Okay, let's spray how I usually spray. Voila! Yeah. And it's fun. You cannot beat spraying. Imagine you had to roll this. And the amount of jobs that I go to where I see a decorator painting with a brush in the house or painting furniture. Oh, bloody hell, get yourself an airless sprayer for God's sake. What, you in the 18th century? Okay, let's bring over a couple of the white pieces. Okay, we have got the dining room, and we've got a good edge here. The other ones, they had a trim going on, so they didn't need the edges spraying because the trim is going to get glued on the front edge. This is where the white comes in, because we just set this up together, didn't we? And let's see how it's going. All right, so it's coming out as a jet. Turn this, okay? So anyone who new to spraying, the airless sprayers, if you get a blockage, you just turn the tip. So it comes out as a jet. So it comes out as a jet, a long jet, and then you turn it, and then it will come out as a mist. Okay, so for example, if you're spraying and it blocks, you just go to a jet and then go back to a mist, and it should be fine. So I think I am good to go. Let's just give a little test for you. Let's get rid of this one over here. And so, yeah, let's talk about Amicus, because Amicus have great customer service. They can match any colours for you. When they mix their paints, they don't mix it with machines, they mix it by hand, the old traditional style. So it takes them longer, but they can get the colour match down to very, very, very close. Like I said, their customer service is second to none. They sell really, really great products. I've been using decking oil, hard wood wax oil, all sorts of paints, everything that you will need for finishing. So head over there. Not only that, I've been using their sponges, which is a game changer, and their discs. So 3 things that have changed my game or my finishing from Amicus is firstly the sanding sponges, secondly the sanding discs, and third the paint. Okay, it's put my finishing to another level just by changing the products. It really has. So yeah, we are good to go, but what did I forget to do? Yep, turn the fan on. Hey, bet you want one too. Okay, so fans are on. Let's go for it. So it takes a bit longer to cover. White to cover a dark brown MDF surface does take a little bit longer. There we go. I think there is some remnants of the water left in there, a couple of drops, so maybe this one might be a little bit quicker. Go for one more. This is an adjustable shelf, so this will get 2 hits, both faces. Right. Right, there we go. So the fans I'm using are so powerful, they'll suck out any overspray in any area of this size. Okay, they are super powerful. I've got them at the lowest setting. If I turn them up, you wouldn't even hear me. And the filters are homemade, so you can make these for like 20 or 30 pence each. And they last a while, so I could have a set of filters that might last for one set of spray or one project, for example, one job, like I am right now. So it's super cheap. Yeah. And okay, let's go ahead and do this last piece for you. Hit that edge first. And then hit the face. If you see lines as you're spraying, it's called tails, which means the pressure isn't high enough. So just crank that pressure up just very slightly. Just do a bit at a time. And there we go, guys. That is it. It's as simple as that. So before I go, head over to the Amicus website, Amicus UK, and use discount code TLC5 for 5% off. Remember, Amicus is a fantastic place to get your paint, and their abrasives are second to none, really high quality, stupidly cheap. They are actually cheaper than if you just went to B&Q. And the paint, because remember we are spraying at low pressure, so we don't need much paint. We won't go through a lot, so it is kind of comparing to the slightly cheaper off-the-shelf paint. They're kind of evening themselves out because I'm not using as much of it. Okay, so now we have the priming done. Let's pretend we've done all our components. They're all done. What we would generally do is we would send them into the workshop, which is through those sliding doors over there, where they will get a sand back of P240 on the faces and a sanding sponge on the edges and the arises. They will then get dusted back and come back in for their final two top coats. Okay, we're going to be using a slightly different product. Let me just show you what we're going to be using. Okay, so this is the top coat that I talked about. So this is a lacquer, 15% sheen, again, Vanites. And this is the white. I've got the darker matched colour, which is going to be coming. So we match that to the customer specs. So that top coat will then get put into the sprayers, just like I've just shown you a moment ago with the primer. And all I would then need to do is apply 2 top coats with that paint, exactly the same way as I applied the primer, and it should be absolutely spot on. Okay, so if you've got any questions, let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if I've missed something. Okay, there are plenty of other finishing videos, priming the sprayers, sanding back, my stacking techniques to get the edges so flat. Have a flick through my finishing videos or my sanding videos and you'll see plenty there. If you can't see a particular video, just let me know and I will hopefully make some more content for you guys. But there we go. Hope you enjoyed the video. Head over to the Amicus website, get yourself 5% off anything from the shop, sanding discs, sanding pads, paint, primer, top coat, anything that you like. It's a fantastic place and yeah, you won't be disappointed. Have a great Friday, guys. I will see you next Friday. Take it easy. Ciao for now.